What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another power pack episode of Black Pearl. So, tell me honestly one thing, how many of you have actually a proper lab setup on your arsenal? And when I talk about lab, I'm talking about forensic lab, malware analysis lab, and all those stuffs, because I know most of the people want to learn all those crazy things but do not have a proper lab setup. So if you are not having one, probably you are risking your own life, own job, and probably you are risking your organization as well, because if you do not have a lab setup, who knows, you can get infected, or you can infect yourself, you can infect your organization as well while doing incident response, right? So in today's episode we are going back to school, and this is 101 episode where I want to show you what are the hardware requirements, software requirements, what are the hardware software that I am using, and how I am building my lab, so that you can follow along with my steps and you can use all those like shift workstation, remnex, then windows 7, 10, all those like sandbox environment, what are the tools, applications, and all those stuffs. Okay. Pretty crazy things, guys. So I want that you get one cup of coffee, beer, fruit juice, whatever you want, and follow along with me, and we are starting right now. So before even we begin with the installation step, first let us see what exactly the things that we are dealing with today, the basic architecture of the software, and what exactly the things that we are going to use for this episode. Okay, so now as you see, this box is our host machine on which we will be installing everything. Okay, so starting from our VM and whatnot. So basically you can consider this box, like the red box, as my base laptop on which I am presenting. Okay, so the white box is the Oracle virtual box. So I'll show you what are the different kind of virtual machine that I suppose or I propose to you guys. But yeah, this is one of the best, and again open source, so I use it. Okay, so it is running inside my host machine, and I have the Oracle virtual box. So inside the Oracle virtual box I will be having another like a Ubuntu machine. So this is basically a Ubuntu machine, so I believe you do not need my help to install a Ubuntu on a Oracle virtual box, right? So inside that Ubuntu machine, what we are gonna do, we are gonna spin up two different machines, or two different operating system. One is like shift virtual machine, which is the SANS forensics virtual machine, and another one is the remnex VM. Okay, so the reverse engineering malware Linux kind of platform. So now these two different kind of, they are basically two different operating system, right? But so you can install their over separately, but what in this episode and for my tutorial, what I prefer, I install both the tools, both the operating system into one Ubuntu machine. Okay, so those will be Dockerized platform. So just by running your only one Ubuntu machine, which will be again running on to your Oracle virtual box, you can access both of them simultaneously. Okay, so next what we are basically trying to do, so this machine is our Windows VM. So basically Windows 7 VM I am choosing, so depending upon your need you can choose Windows 10 VM as well, right? So now Windows 7 VM will be our machine where we will be actually detonating of each of our malware and all those stuffs. Okay, so now what exactly we will be doing, we will be sending DNS communication from this Windows 7 VM to this this Unix box. Okay, so this Ubuntu box. So basically we will be trying to fake the DNS, and I'll show you how we can do that. Basically installing the inetsim service on the remnex box, we will route each and every traffic from the Windows 7 VM to this particular Ubuntu machine. Okay, and for the sake of the tutorial I am telling you that this Windows 7 VM and this whole the Ubuntu machine will be on same subnet, and they will be connecting to each other, and I will show you like how you can basically ping them, what are the network architecture that you have to define in while actually we will be doing the demo, but this is what exactly the thing that I'm gonna do. Okay, and my host machine will be obviously having the Wi-Fi or the internet connectivity, but while we will install the packages and we will install the software, the Oracle VirtualBox will be having the internet connectivity, but till the time we will be installing all the packages, all the softwares. Okay, and after that we will cut off the internet connectivity. Okay, so I believe now you guys have the details picture of it. Okay, so this particular machine, this shipped virtual machine will be our each and every forensic need. It will suppose our each and every forensic need, and this Remnex VM will have more than enough. Like, it is the ultimate virtual machine that is used for malware reverse engineering. Okay, so you do not need anything else if you have this particular machine into your arsenal. Okay, and again, as I told you, this is a Windows 7 VM. You guys can go with like Windows 10, Windows 8, whatever maybe you have in your arsenal. Okay, but I prefer Windows 7. That doesn't really matter. Okay, as per your needs. Okay, and Oracle VirtualBox, always choose one kind of virtualization or like any kind of hypervisor system which has the capability to take the snapshots. Okay, so if it is like you cannot take the snapshots, so you are basically doomed, right? Because you will be detonating the malwares, you will be doing a lot of stuffs onto your machine, and if you cannot like take the machine back to its known good state, you are doomed, right? So choose a virtualized appliance which has the capability to take the snapshots. Okay, so like VMware Workstation Player doesn't have the capability, so you might need to go to VMware the ultimate version. Okay, so they have the capability, but anyway, I am using Oracle VirtualBox, so that has the capability anyway. Okay, so yeah, so this is obviously the need, and as I telling you, this virtual machine and this Ubuntu virtual machine will be on same network. Okay, so they will be under same network and they will be pinging each other. Okay, so now once more thing that I wanted to show you guys. So this is my hardware specification, what I am using, and what the desktop PC also I am using. So I am using two different machine for my lab. So depending upon your need, you can like pause the video for a minute and you will be done. Okay, so finally the practical round. So as you see, I am logged into my Ubuntu machine, and this is a 20 version. So now if you just go to this particular area, you will see that I am still having the internet connectivity on this machine. Okay, because I told you, right? So we need internet connectivity to this machine while we are still preparing for that particular like the installation steps. Okay, so now let me open up my terminal over here. So the first thing that we are going to do over here, we are going to install the shipped workstation. Okay, so that is our first need. So first let me show you what are the version. As you see, it is running on Ubuntu 20.04. Now remember that so the release version is 20.043 LTS. Now remember that if you are installing the shipped workstation on 21.04, it won't work. Okay, because as per their definition of the science forensics, so you have to use this 20.04 version. Okay, otherwise it is not supported. Okay, so now I have opened the release note and whatever the things that we need. So the first thing is that we need to do this particular curl stuff and all. So I'll go simply copy this particular thing from here, and because I just need to dump that like a directory or whatever maybe you call it, so the binary basically to install the shipped. Okay, and this machine is brand new, I don't have anything else on that particular machine. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do a quick sudo, then I'm gonna pull down that particular repository from GitHub. Okay, so curl not found, obviously, because I do not have any, like it's a fresh machine, right? So sudo apt install curl. So first it will install the curl, and once done we will run the command again. Okay, so curl has been installed now, so we will run the command again. So this is the command basically to pull down the repository for the shipped workstation. Okay, so it will take some time depending upon the bandwidth, so we will wait for some time and let's see. Okay, so now as you see, the installation has been, like, the download has been completed finally. So what we need to do at this point of time, we will simply do a sudo and we will change the executable permission of that particular file. Okay, so now let me clear up my screen. And the next step is that, so since the file is inside the bin directory, so by calling the file itself, so you will be able to just call the file. So just name it shipped and the file will be called. Okay, so what we can do, we can simply call it as like shipped, then minus minus help or anything like that, just to check whether it is running properly or not. Now you see these things are running and these are the probable commands that you can press at this point of time. So what I need to do, I need to install the shipped on this particular box. Okay, so what I will do, I will sudo shipped, then I will press and install. Okay, so that gonna trick the job. Okay, so now as you see, installing and configuring the salt stack property, and the script will, what it will do, it will first try to check whether the shipped version is present on the machine or not. It will also check what is the operating system that is present on this particular machine, and then it will try to install this particular software, and we will come back when the software has been installed and we will see that what are the changes that is visible just after upgrading your Ubuntu system with a shipped version. Okay, so now as you see, the installation of the shipped is been completed, and after installing you will see this message. Okay, completed successfully, success something, and failure is totally 0. Okay, so it will download a hell lot of things inside your box, so be patient with this installation. And you want to see the magic trick, right? So now if you just minimize this window, you will see that whatever the sans poster and whatever the other stuffs is like also shipped gives by default, you are getting everything. But the main thing is that this Windows hasn't changed bit yet, right? So now if you also see what are the other applications that has been also installed in this particular box, so you will see that there are some like other application is also being called upon, which is the shipped workstation basic stuffs, right? So basic application that is being present, like the Hydra, then the Vim editor, then the Wireshark. You will see that the volatility also, those kind of stuffs. Okay, so now what we need to do, let's do a quick reboot for that particular machine. Okay, so sudo reboot. Okay, so because what is the reason we are doing the reboot? Because we just want to make sure whatever the changes, whatever the installation we have done on this particular machine, so it is being successful. Okay, so let's see what this change has to do with our installation. Okay, so our reboot has been done now, and now if you see that it is the same machine, but the desktop background that has been provided by shipped is being changed now. Okay, so what next we need to do, and if you see the orientation and all those stuffs has been changed, and this machine is actually looking a shipped workstation and not an Ubuntu machine anymore. Okay, but remember at the back end this is running an Ubuntu 20.01 version, and it is the shipped workstation which is running on top of it, right? What next? So now we need to install Remnex on this particular machine, right? Because remember in our previous the block diagram and the architecture, what exactly we shown the Ubuntu machine will be hosting two different things. So the shipped is done, and now let's go and let's install our Remnex workstation. Okay, so for getting the Remnex, what we need to do, basically first we need to get the Remnex the binary file. Okay, so now if you see wget, this is the Remnex org and Remnex CLI version, because we are running and we want to install Remnex CLI. Okay, because there is another option like like the shipped workstation. Okay, so they provide you the over version also, right? But if you want to install the actual package onto an Ubuntu machine, and if you want to build on top of it, so you have to install the Remnex CLI. Okay, so that's the exact thing we are doing right now. Okay, so the package has been downloaded. So what we need to do now, basically I just want to rename the Remnex CLI as such, like Remnex, just only Remnex. Okay, because that's more convenient. Okay, so I'll rename it as Remnex. And so what else we need to do, we need to make it executable, right? So I will give it as la chmod, then x like for executable, and then Remnex. Okay, so that will be giving me the executable permission of it, right? So now what do we need to do, we need to move it to somewhere so that we can call it anywhere and it will run. So just is the easy process. So if just you want to call a particular package or particular binary onto Linux from anywhere, basically setting up the path, so you can send it to a bin directory. Okay, so that's the exact thing we are trying to do now. So sudo move Remnex, then the folder name is user, then it is obviously the local, and then there is a folder called bin. Okay, so it is moved now. So what we need to do at this point of time, so we just need to call the package, and we want to install it as like add-on, because it's an add-on, right? So on shipped workstation on Ubuntu, it's an add-on process, right? So let me clear up my screen over here, and the command is for running it or installing the Remnex, sudo Remnex, then ins install, obviously. Then obviously there will be a mode, right? Because as I told you, we want to install it as add-on. Okay, so that's the mode and that's the key to install it. So now you will see that the mode Remnex, and you will see all the downloading stuffs and all of the feature that basically we need to have this machine to download or successfully having installed Remnex will be getting done now. Okay, so we will come back when the Remnex is also finished, and we will see what are the visible changes that is been visible on our machine. Okay, so now as you see, completed successfully, success 799, failure 0. So now you will see all these packages, all these stuffs what Remnex give you by default has been installed to this particular box. Okay, so again it is saying me please reboot it, just to make sure that whatever changes has been done on this particular machine has been successful. But we know this is successful, right? So maybe what exactly we can do, let me clear up the screen over here. So just to ensure whether the shipped workstation is running properly or not, so we will run vol.py --info. So vol.py is the volatility foundation framework, so it present by default in any kind of the shipped workstation, and as you see it is running properly. So we have our the volatility running, so that means shipped is also running. So what we can do also, we can check to run the clump scan, because that's another thing. Okay, so let me see if clump scan is also running. Yeah, so clump scan is also over here. So that means Remnex is giving us the sweet things on top of Ubuntu, right? One thing also we can check, like floss ---- help. Like floss is a tool for like checking the binaries, checking the string extraction from any kind of binary, any kind of packages. So again floss is also running, right? So that means our installation at this point of time is successful. Okay, so now what exactly we need to do, so I will show you now what are the things that is required to set up your machine on like the Windows machine, because that is your virtual machine, that is your sandbox and whatever maybe you can call it. So this machine, whatever that the thing that the box that we build, like the shipped and Remnex, this is your forensic workstation, this is your After Effects, like the postmortem. If you want to do something, if you want to play around with any malware and want to see whatever the malware has done on that box, this is your machine. Okay, so now let's build our Windows machine, which is our sandbox. Okay, so this is our clean build that we have just built, and this is the Windows 7 VM. And again, I am telling you, I believe I like you people do not need my help to build an Windows 7 box on virtual machine. Right now, if I do a quick Google over here, you will see that this particular machine is still reachable to the internet, okay, because we haven't cut off the internet connectivity on the machine. Because as I told you, right, so we might need to install something, or like install the packages, install the tools that particularly we need on this particular machine to call it as whatever you want to call it, okay, so the sandbox or like malware analysis machine and whatnot. Okay, so what exactly we need to do now? So let me, if I do a quick ns lookup, let me do a quick ns lookup to probably google.com, and now you see this particular google.com, so it is resolving to the actual Google domain. Okay, so similarly, if you do a quick Cisco, maybe Cisco, so you will see that okay, Cisco is not found, maybe cisco.com, non-authoritative answer. But okay, so now it is giving us the the root domain address and all those stuffs. Okay, so this is basically the things that means this particular machine is working properly as of now. Okay, so now what we need to do, we need to cut off the internet connectivity on this machine, and we need to route all those traffic to our shipped and remnants box, so that if we detonate any kind of malware or any kind of stuff on this particular machine, so that those traffic can be captured using any Wireshark or any other tools to that our remnants and the DFIR workstation what we have just built right now. Okay, so let's do that right now. So what we can do for this particular thing, so let me open up the local area connection over here, and from there in the property section you will see that this particular area is over there, right? So we need to prefer, or we need to give a particular DNS IP address. Okay, but before even doing that, so let me first show you what are the actual connection or network connectivity that you need to work on in the virtual machine level. Okay, so now if you see that, so this particular is the Oracle virtual machine, the front end page that you will get. So this machine is our Windows 7 machine. Now if I just show you what are the network connectivity this particular machine have, so this particular machine will be in NAT mode. So that means it is sharing the base IP address, whatever the IP address of my base laptop, right? So the diagram you remember. So now what we need to do, we need to give it as like the host only adapter or like internal adapter, something like that. Okay, so what we can do, we can give it as like host only adapter, because that's the thing, and anything that doesn't really matter, but we need to make sure that our remnants box or our ship box is on the same network with this Windows 7 VM. Okay, so what we need to do, and in the name, like the attachment of that particular network card, so we want to attach VirtualBox host only Ethernet adapter. So there is two adapters, like there is no numbering on the first one, second one is 2, but we want to choose that only. Okay, so it is saving that particular connection string, and now if I go back to that particular machine of our VM, you will obviously see that okay, so if you go back to our machine on the Windows box, you will see that this particular section is not recognizing and it is giving round and round, right? So that means at this point of time, maybe our internet is broken. As you see, internet is not working on this particular machine anymore. Now what we need to basically perform at this point of time, so you remember we need to build something on the remnants box. So let me show you the remnants box first, and the same thing also we need to perform on the remnants box, right? Because we need to make sure the remnants box is also running on the same platform, right? So I'll go to the settings section of this particular remnants machine, and what I need to do, I need to go to the network tab, and as you see it is same net, and I will choose the host only adapter and again the virtual host only adapter. Okay, and I'll press enter. So the change has been done now. So let me log into the forensic workstation right now, and if I just show you what are the IP address of this particular machine running, I'll probably get a private IP address. Okay, so I'll go and if config, yeah, so now you will see that so the Ethernet connection is listening on this particular inet number. Okay, so that is 192.168.56.103. okay, so now if I go back to my Windows machine, and if I just open the command prompt from here, so let me quickly check what is the IP address of this machine as well. So if I do here ipconfig, so this particular machine should give me the IP address on the same region. Okay, so the same location. Okay, ipconfig. Okay, so now you see this is running on 102 over here. Okay, so and our Remnex machine was running on 103. Okay, so now what we need to do, so as I told you, right, so we need to route every DNS traffic, DNS record to this particular Remnex box. Okay, so for doing that, what we need to do, we need to go to the network sharing section of this particular Windows 7 VM. I will open the network connectivity and sharing section, and from there, from the IP address and all those stuff, I will simply choose the IP address which is the Remnex host. Okay, and I'll press enter. Okay, so now that's done, that closed, and what we can do over here, probably we can just do a ns lookup and just let's see that google.com. so I am not expecting this ns lookup should run because we have just routed the traffic to the Remnex box, but that is not resolving at the Remnex box level as well. Okay, so I'll hit it, it will give me the IP address. As you see, the IP address where it is trying to resolve it over here, it is the Remnex box, but DNS request timed out because the IP address or the domain that I am trying to resolve, it is not resolving at the Remnex level, right? That's obvious because we haven't done anything on the Remnex box right now. Okay, so now what we need to do, so let me clear up my screen over here, and there is a tool which is called like inetSIM. Okay, so what inetSIM does, it can fake any of the service that is currently running on your machine. Okay, like DNS, HTTP, HTTPS, SMTP, whatever maybe you want to call it, Remnex has that particular tool. Okay, so for running that particular thing, we need to make some changes on the configuration file of that Remnex thing. Okay, so for changing the configuration file, what we need to do, we need to do a sudo then I love gedit because I need to edit that. You can do it with Vim, any other network editor or any other text editor for your reference. So there is a folder called etc, then there is a folder called inetSIM, and there is a configuration file inetsim.conf. Okay, so now I have opened that particular conf file. Now if you see over here, you will see that there are some options which is starting with hash, right? So that means those are the service which is over here is marked as like non-required, right? So that's the simple comment section. Okay, so we'll remove everything from here, and what we can do, we can simply save it. So that's probably will be doing my job at this point of time. Okay, so what we need to find at this point of time, the bind address, right? Because the bind address is the address on which this particular inetSIM will be running. Now this bind address will be the same address that is our Remnex host is running. Okay, so Remnex host is running 192.168 then 56.103 and 102 our Windows machine. Okay, so that's done. And one other thing also we need to do, we need to do a DNS. Okay, because DNS default IP address also we need to change, because we want that this inetSIM, whatever the service it is calling, it should resolve on this box itself. Okay, so we will change this particular DNS configuration thing, and we are done at this point of time. So we are done with changing the inet configuration, and what next we need to do, we need to simply run the inetSIM configuration. Okay, sudo inet sim. So that should do the work basically. Now you will see that, so okay, so http 80 failed, but the simulation is running, and you will see that DNS is also running, and all those stuff like IRC, TSFTP, then discard, and whatever the things that we have removed from the configuration file as the hash term. So we have just ticked off the unmarked section. Those services are running, and the simulation is basically running now. So the magic now, what we need to do over here, so you see that the previous command failed, the DNS timeout failed. So we will run the same command again, and it will give me the address of the same Remnex box, but it will resolve the DNS, okay, and it will give me the IP address back of the same machine, right? So let's do that now. As you see, awesome, right? So you see that it is resolving google.com, but it is resolving to the IP address on which our Remnex host is running. So what basically we need at this point of time, so if you are running any kind of malware or anything which is basically trying to do any C2 or anything similar that, so they are quite smart right now. If you just cut off the internet connection on that level, what the malware will do, it will keep on searching and it will keep on checking, right? If your machine is stopping or blocking the network connectivity, it will run, it will stop executing, right? So by faking the DNS service and whatever other service InetSim is offering you, you can fake all of them, and you can tell the malware that, hey, I am not cutting off anything, you execute it, so that we are just fooling the malware that, okay, I have the internet connection and it is not a virtual machine. But there are other steps also, like the attacker performs to check whether it's a virtual machine or not. So maybe we will come that in later point of time, or I'll make a separate video out of it. But yeah, this is how you should actually fake the service, and you should detonate your malware on top of it, right? So we are done with, at this point of time, with our all of the settings. And one more thing also I just want to show you. Let me ping that particular machine. Okay, so I just want to ping the IP address which is 103, just to make sure that it is replying like we are in same page. Okay, so it is replying fast. Awesome. So we can do the same over here. Okay, so let me kill the InetSim process as of now. So what I can do, I can ping simply the IP address of the machine of our Windows box, right? So that is 102. Okay, so now you see that, so this machine is pinging that, and the Windows machine is also pinging that. So at this point of time we are good. All of our machine in same subnet, same network, and InetSim is also done. So now the last step. Okay, so what are the tools you need on the Windows machine? Like similarly, we have built the shipped workstation. You will be needing some kind of tool onto your Windows machine also, right? So let's build that, and let me show you what are the very basic tool. You need not need a hell lot of tool. Okay, so you need only very basic tool. Okay, so let me show you that now. Okay, so these are the full basic tools that probably you guys might be needing if you are working on a SOC or something like similar thing, and you need your own sandbox tool. Okay, so these are very handful tools. Okay, so Stringer is the shortcut for McAfee, which actually gives you the like Yara's kind of scan, or like heuristic scan on any of your sample. Okay, so you can just quickly scan the Stringer and you will see that what are the specific things about the file and all those stuffs. Okay, so Redshot. Okay, so this Redshot is a tool which actually helps you to collect the registry on a particular machine. Now let's say if you have detonated a malware, you can collect the registry Hive before detonating the malware and after detonating the malware. Okay, so it will compare both the files, and it will like actually show you what are the changes that has been made by the malware. Okay, so we will come up another episode to actually show you how the things basically done over here. Okay, so WRR is again Windows registry recovery tool, which can help you to recover any kind of broken registry from any of the infected machine. Okay, so Process Hacker. So this is an awesome tool. I love this tool because this is not like only the tool which gives you the full depth of process like the task manager or something, but this tool actually gives you a full depth of information. Okay, so what is the parent process, what is the child process that is running. Now let's see if you just ran a malware, and you can see that what are the process tree that this particular file is basically getting created. Okay, so now if you want to dump anything like terminate anything, suspend anything, and if you want to dump any of the file and properties, you can check everything from here. Okay, so that's the beauty of the tool, and I love this tool very much. And quite similarly, you have Didier Steven shortcut. Okay, so this is a hell lot of tool, guys. So Didier Steven has like pioneer of the FIR industry. Okay, so he has written a hell lot of Python scripts. So don't worry about the links and all those stuff. So I'll leave the link in the description, and you can go to my GitHub and you can pull down all of their these tools from actual author sites. Okay, so I have collaborated the DFIR category things in my repository. You can go there and you can collect it, but this is Pandora's box. Okay, so if you have this tool, you probably don't need anything else onto your arsenal. Okay, now PE Studio, I believe you know, this is one of the best tool for checking or writing any of the like static malware analysis. Okay, if you want to detonate a malware and if you want to see what is the hash, what is the fuzzy hash, then what are the properties, what are the string values, anything suspicious or running on that machine or not, anything suspicious into VirusTotal according to the string match, what are the file carving properties, entropy of that particular file, everything will be given in PE Studio. Okay, so that's why I love it. And the final, and like not final, but I can see the ProcDot. Okay, so once you detonate the malware, so ProcDot is a tool which can give you a full depth of graphical interface. Okay, so that's the beauty of the tool. So I don't want to run it as of now because I don't have any malware sample to show you guys. But you see, once you have collected the evidence from Procmon, Process Hacker and WinDump. Okay, so the WinDump means the Wireshark. Okay, so it will help you to create a full depth of network graph, like from where to happen, how the malware has been propagated and all those stuffs. Now if you are interested to check how these things basically done, I have a very older video where I showed you in a bootcamp kind of episode where I tried to detonate one malware sample and I tried to explore all these tools. You can watch that. I will leave the link in the description somewhere, and I will try to come up with similar episodes in future as well. Okay, so stay tuned for that. Okay, so yeah, I don't want to save it. And Procmon, everyone knows what is Procmon, right? So Procmon is a process monitor. It's kind of similar with the Process Hacker. It will try to show you what are the registry keys, what are the things. The beauty of the tool is the process, according to the process executable, it will show you the registry keys that is linked to that particular process. You can do the correlation, you can dump the process, and you can basically, it's kind of a recording tool, you know. So whatever you have done on the machine, if you are detonating something on the machine, so everything will be captured. Okay, so these are the basic handful tools, and you do not need anything else on this platform, right? So yeah, that's all guys. So I have to show you for this particular episode. I hope this particular episode is helpful for you guys. So believe me, this is not an very like high level of skills or anything like that. This is a basic 101 kind of course. Okay, because I believe to learn something, you have to learn from scratch. Okay, now if you are not familiar with how you can build a basic malware analysis tool or basic malware analysis like a DFIR platform, whatever that may be, you are already doomed on that particular area, right? So this is a basic, a very basic hands-on. So what I want now from you people, that you follow my steps, and if you have any doubt, please feel free to post everything in the description box over here. Feel free to reach out to me in LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, email me, message me, everything you can do, and I'll be happy to help and share my experience, how I have built all these tools. And if you are stuck with somewhere, I am happy to help you in every aspect I can. Okay, and one last thing before even leaving, I hope you have enjoyed this particular session. If so, please give me a thumbs up and let me know how you have enjoyed the session. What are the things, what are the more important things that you want me to show for you guys, because in this due course I'll be also learning, and I want you also learn and share your experience with me so that I can learn and I can help others also to learn. Okay, and before even leaving, just hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon, so that whenever I create a new episode and this super kick-ass episode, and I prefer to give some giveaways for you guys, so some giveaways are also coming in down road, so I'll maybe give 2-3 coupons for Let's Defend Lab, BTLO, who knows. Okay, so stay tuned for them. And most important thing, guys, so I am coming up with a very real life situation where we will do the forensics to identify the root cause analysis. So that will be on memory forensics, so please stay tuned for that. That will be a huge so episode for you guys, so I don't want to give a spoiler kind of thing, so stay tuned, coming up very shortly. So that's all, and I'll catch you guys next time. Stay healthy, stay safe.